G'day, it's Heath here from pickinlessons.com. This is lesson number 7 in the beginner mandolin crash course that you can find at Pickin Lessons. Now, in this lesson, we're going to have a look at Wayfaring Stranger. That's the end result of this lesson. But to get us there, we're going to break down the key of A minor. That's the key of the tune we're playing. We're going to learn 2 scales in this lesson and an arpeggio. We're going to learn the A natural minor scale and the A harmonic minor scale, a really common variation, and the A minor arpeggio as well. Now, if you head to pickinlessons.com, you'll also be able to find the next part of this lesson where we're going to break down the chords we're using. So we're going to look at some open position and some closed position chords that are movable. We're also going to introduce some double stop positions that we're using in Wayfaring Stranger, and also have a look at the tremolo technique. It's a great technique in the mandolin. It sounds really lovely. It's really important. So we're going to break all that down, and we'll also have a look at Wayfaring Stranger, the tune. So pickinlessons.com. Let's start out here looking at these minor scales. This will set us up for our technique. It will give you a bit of an idea of what the minor scale is and the variation for the harmonic minor scale as well. Let's start out with the A natural minor scale. The A natural minor scale sounds like this in A minor. So there's our scale. Let's just run it really slow. Ready, and. There's up to our second octave there. So we have 2 octaves of that minor scale. So the first thing we want to do is really get to know it ascending, and then we can work on it descending as well. So let's practice that descending from that second octave of the A. Ready, and. So there's our A natural minor scale. The natural minor scale is what we find relative to the key. So for example, the A natural minor scale is relative to the key of C major, shares the same scale notes. So that's our natural minor scale. Now a common variation though on a minor scale is the harmonic minor scale, and the difference is that we raise the 7th note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7th note is a G in the natural minor. We're going to raise that to a G sharp. So the natural minor, 1 octave, sounds like this. Here is the harmonic minor scale. So the G sharp in there. So that's a really common variation that we do find in a lot of tunes. It's a really strong way of emphasizing that root note when we rise up to it. Now the harmonic minor scale, let's have a run through that. And again, this is a great way of practicing. We can practice these scales just to warm up. We can work on these for our technique. So let's learn the notes first. We're going to cover the 2 octaves all the way up to the second octave of the A. Ready, and. There we go. So the G sharp instead of the G, that's the only difference. So instead of a G natural, we have a G sharp, raising the 7th note. Let's practice that descending as well from that second octave of the A. Ready, and. And that last A there, we can jump down to the G sharp with our first finger and back into the A again. Great way of practicing. So there's our A natural minor and our A harmonic minor scales. 2 common minor scales that you hear a lot, and you often hear them in combination in songs and tunes. Sometimes you could just use the natural minor scale. Often you'll have a combination of both. So the melody in Wayfaring Stranger uses the G natural note, but also uses the G sharp as well. And when we bring that G sharp in, we often change the chord related to that chord. Normally you may find an E minor chord relative to the natural minor scale. In the case of Wayfaring Stranger, our example we're going to use is going to jump to the E7 chord instead. So the E7 chord has a G sharp in it. So we'll have a look at those chords later on, but the difference between the 2 scales is just a G and a G sharp. It's really important in how we hear the melody sometimes. So practice those 2 scales up. Now, also, just to get us going, we're going to have a look at an A minor arpeggio, because the arpeggios are great to practice as well. And the arpeggio is basically playing the chordal notes one at a time. So rather than playing an A minor as a chord, we're going to break that down and play the notes individually. So there's the A minor arpeggio. Let's run it slowly and we'll run it up and back just to get to know it. Ready, and... So there's the A minor arpeggio. Great to practice these. These are great for your technique, just to have a really nice understanding of these notes that build the key. So the key of A minor, we've got the two scales, the A natural minor, the A harmonic minor, and that A minor arpeggio. You can practice those as a warm-up. You can really work on your technique, work on your alternating picking, and really make sure that your technique is doing really well. So this is a great entry into Wayfaring Stranger. We're in the key of A minor for the tune. Now, if you head to pickinlessons.com, we are going to follow this up next by looking at a bunch of chords that relate to the Wayfaring Stranger, but of course relate to the key of A minor. We'll have a look at two versions of each chord. We're going to be looking at an open position chord, but also a closed position chord that can be moved later on to different positions, so you could play different chords with the same chord shape. So we'll cover that. We'll also be covering the double stop positions, the tremolo technique that we really need to use for this arrangement, and then we'll break down the actual tune itself. There are two variations. We'll look at the basic melody and we'll look at the melody that uses the tremolo and the double stops. So pickinlessons.com, I'll see you there.